Once is coincidence, twice is happenstance, and thrice is enemy action. In this scenario, we are the enemies taking action, as we can now very safely say that our various advocacies against woke nonsense in entertainment has finally fully affected Disney and Pixar, with this Elio now being the third movie with allegations of the erasure of queer themes within it, being launched allegedly from people who worked on the project. This is very interesting, of course, because this shows the very slow turning of the wheel yet again. Now, Pixar has been on a legendary losing streak now for a very long time, with Elio's being their crowning achievement with the lowest box office opening in Pixar's history. Much to the annoyance of Disney, who bought the company assuming it would simply be a license to print money. But as with Star Wars, Disney has had a remarkable ability to turn guaranteed gold into dog shit, with the only real big success recently for Pixar being Inside Out 2, which of course also was accused of erasing queer themes within it. In fact, there, the producers that worked on it alleged that they were moving towards a more wokeified story, until Disney executives came in and went, "No, you will not do this, we want to earn money, goddamn you." And this is now another one where the same thing happened. So, Elio was initially portrayed as a queer-coded character, reflecting original director Adrian Molina's identity as an openly gay filmmaker. So this was set to be yet another self-insert story, as this has been the bane of entertainment, comics, movies, televisions, etc., with authors who have no talent to create anything of their own moving into an established franchise and going, but wouldn't it be better if I was in it? Wouldn't it be better if the story was about me and me only? I think the single most egregious example was this one. Does anyone remember this? I Am Not Starfire. So this, of course, was a Marvel comic book series that was not about Starfire. It was about her fat, dumpy, unattractive sister. Or was it daughter or something absurd like that? I think it was daughter. Who just happened to look an awful lot like the writer. Coinky dinky winky, I'm absolutely sure, but you have here a comic book that takes Starfire, the hot, attractive alien with no sense of boundaries, and goes, yes, but what about a fat, unattractive, dumpy woman that happens to look like me? Wouldn't that be a far more compelling story? No. No, it wouldn't, and no, it wasn't. In all due likelihood, it was the same here. Now, this then had test screenings where it went terribly, and this time it wasn't even Disney coming from the inside out going, no, please, we'd like to earn some money. This time it was Pixar themselves who course corrected. Now, not enough to save the movie by any stretch of the imagination, but they were beginning already then to move away from the LGBTQ themes. The Elio production resulted in fraught feelings for those with ties to Pixar who have come to question whether the company intends to prioritize diversity. No, they're not, because diversity doesn't earn money. Aiming to please the smallest possible group of viewers, it's not a very good strategy. Dr. Spark debate when he noted in a 2024 interview that the studio should make the most relatable films possible, which was perceived as advocating for a shift away from underrepresented characters and voices. Correct. Aiming in on the 0.3% of the populace instead of serving the 99.7%, it's been proven to be a losing strategy again and again, as Pixar can't create anything new now anymore. Pixar is dead, in my opinion. The only thing they'll do now is, well, they're in the exact same position as Disney itself. It lives off nostalgia. It monetizes the things that more creative individuals made in the past. And all they can do now is attempt desperately so to repeat the successes of previous generations. Which is why we're now on Toy Story like 5, I think, or Moana 2, which, God, that was the most pointless sequel in human fucking history, whilst being utterly unable to create anything new. The same with Disney. The only reason why Disney is still solvent is because of the parks, because of the nostalgia for previous products. And a lot of this also stems from the fact that Pixar is no longer special. It was, once upon a time, the Disney brand on something meant quality. You knew you were in for a good time with a Disney movie. Same with Pixar. There was something special. They had drive, quality, and a style that simply was not found anywhere else. It was remarkable. Now everything they make looks like the same thing. In fact, worse than that, everything else that's being made looks like the same thing. The Pixar style, the Pixar formula, has been copied a dozen times over, more effectively by the Chinese, who... Why was this the biggest grossing Chinese movie ever? Because it aimed squarely at the Chinese audience. Imagine making a piece of entertainment for the majority rather than the minority. And of course, it doesn't end there. Recently released K-pop Demon Hunters, just to take a current day example. Pixar style. Everything looks like this now. All of it. Nobody can tell the difference between a Pixar movie and the 500 different competitors anymore. Pixar no longer has that level of quality, and the thing is, this is inherent within 3D. Now, Disney killed off their 2D animation department because they believed that 3D was the future, because they believed that with 3D you could create way more content, quicker, cheaper, and more effectively. All of that turned out to be a lie, as the average animated project at Disney now costs like $200 million a pop, and still comes out as slow as the 2D stuff, but they managed to seed all of the creative ground for making things that look unique. Again, take into consideration like 2D style stuff. Just for the same character. You've got Batman from the animated series. You've got Batman from the DC Extended Universe nonsense, right? The various Justice League movies. Looks quite different. The color is different, the cape and cowl is different, the outfit is different, the color is different. These are stylistically different, and you've even got like the Batman from 2004, which even though it retains the majority of the color styles, even with the yellow symbol on the chest, you can see that the feel of the character is more feline almost. Gone is the square jaw for a more rounded one, a more predatory look to the eyes, a more like almost owlish tilt to the cape. I'm not a fan of that one. See, the 2004 series, by the way, is actually a great Batman series that I do recommend, but I really hate its take on Bruce Wayne and Batman. But details, we're wearing sharply off the point here. The point is, all three of these are different. You can tell at a glance they come from different series with different stories, which immediately makes it somewhat interesting. It's all the same guy, it's all the same universe, but they're all different stories. Whereas, I mean, God help me. Again, the Pixar style is everywhere now. At a glance, it will be very difficult to tell the Pixar style from the Chinese rip-off style to the Netflix style. It's all got the same presentation. It's all got the same immediate appearance. There is no longer any innate value in the Pixar brand, because what Disney forgot about when they were going all in on 3D is that once you create a mold in 3D, anyone can fucking copy it. All of this is pre-made modules on the internet. The style, the lighting, the appearance, the textures, etc. All of these have been done to death in countless online tutorials. Everybody is using the same tools. Everybody is using the same style of resources, and so it's no wonder that everything being produced looks the same. And in a market where there is no appreciable immediate difference to set aside one brand from the other beyond a 5-second introductory trailer portion, people will simply go to see the story that intrigues them the most. And as it turns out, that is not the story of a queer-coded gay dude who befriends, I presume, fishes. It's whatever is culturally relevant for you. It's what's cringy or popular fucking K-pop nonsense. That's what people will watch, not the queer-coded fish friend. This is a lesson that now, with things like this, Pixar and Disney are beginning to learn. They started learning them like in 2023, 2022, but again, all of this machinery takes ages to turn, as I've said over and over again. This is evidence that projects already in production were massively rewritten to get rid of woke elements, to get rid of LGBTQ nonsense and queer nonsense in general. Nonsense, too much nonsense. But that does not mean that you're going to end up with a better product, because now it's still being written by the same dudes. You've still got the same openly gay filmmaker who wanted to make a film about himself being gay in the same vein as this. That man didn't have talent to begin with. He was coasting on the novelty of his sexuality, on where he'd like to park his penis. You can't get that guy to make something else that's good. He's just an activist. If he can't even write what he likes to write, what are the odds he'll write anything else worth a damn? Do you think this person is going to produce quality content after making this? Of course not. What you need is now a decades-long search for the remaining 5 non-woke entertainment writers in Hollywood, who are probably working for themselves by now and don't even want to go work in the slave pits at Disney. This is the reason why I think Pixar is actually fucked. They will continue coasting on the successes of previous creations for quite some time, but as their style becomes even more common, as China moves in to throttle them to death, I don't think Pixar will be able to turn this around. I don't think they've got the time to transition over to the traditional market again. And even if they do, they're going to meet fierce competition from dozens of other studios who realize that they can make the same stuff that Pixar does, and they can swoop in and claim their audience straight from underneath their noses. China is already pulling its investment out of the West and back into their own entertainment properties. Oh well, seeing as Pixar has hardly produced anything worthwhile for quite some time now, I'm not all that upset. And honestly, what I would like to see is Disney, and they already are, by the way, they're already pulling back 2D animated talent to go back to making stuff like this. To go, okay, we can actually make 2D things with soul, rather than the recent Batman effort, which was awful. But if they simply just remade shit like this, as the success of X-Men 97 proves, well, at least there is still some hope for entities like DC, and possibly even for Disney, as it still does have a whole massive library of 2D stuff they could rely upon, and be immediately distinctive from the flood of 3D shit. Not that I necessarily want Disney to survive, mind you. At this point, if Pixar dies, good. If it drags Disney down with it, better. Still, it's always nice to see the erasure of the queers, isn't it? Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.